Hello, Rambling Rick here. Today we're going to go to Citrus County, Florida, more specifically Old Homosassa, and we're going to look at a couple of things there. The first is the ruins of a sugar mill, and the second is very interesting. It's called Monkey Island, and we'll get into that when we get there. Okay, so back in the early 1800s, there was a fellow named David Levy Yulee. He was the first senator from Florida, U.S. senator, and he was the first Jewish member of the Senate. More importantly to us, he was a businessman, and he owned a huge plantation. And they produced sugar. And what we're going to look at now is his sugar mill, the ruins of it. Yulee Sugar Mill Ruins Historic State Park. Let's go over and have a look. There it is, such as it is. So let's see if we can get across the road. Yulee Sugar Mill Ruins Historic State Park. Homosassa has roots in many of Florida's first industries, including citrus, sugar, and tourism. This 1800 sugar mill is a reminder of the town's past and the industry's history. This stream-driven mill was part of a 5,000-acre sugar plantation named Margarita, owned by David Levy Yulee, a prominent businessman and railroad builder in the 19th century. It processed sugar cane into syrup, molasses, and rum. Cutting cane and making syrup was hot, hazardous work. The forced toil of enslaved laborers who built and operated the mill greatly contributed to the plantation's success. Okay. Grande kettle. Propri kettle. Flambeau kettle. Syrup kettle, battery kettle, kettles in operation. The juice flowed from the settling vats into the Grande, the largest of 5 kettles built into the furnace below. The Grande was also the coolest, being farthest from the battery kettle under which the furnace was fired. The chimney draft pulled the heat from this fire through the furnace to heat the other kettles. The heated juice was hand dipped from the larger to the smaller kettle and ended as syrup in the battery, the smallest and hottest. Here it reached the strike or sugar stage. It was then ladled into a trough and poured into large wooden vats where sugar crystals began to form as it cooled. After hardening, it was spaded into slices, carried in small tubs to the purgery curing room, and packed in hogsheads, wooden barrels. So quite a production here to make sugar. And that must be that furnace right there, because one of the kettles was there, another one there, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Huh. This is the actual mill itself. Someone needed that plaque. So, steam engine and gears. The cylinder of the steam engine is located at the near end of the iron frame to the right. Steam entering the cylinder through valves forced the piston inside to move back and forth. The piston was connected to the arm at the far end of the frame by a driving rod and slide, now missing. Their movement made the arm rotate, turning the flywheel shaft. The flywheel and the small gear at the left, which turned the large gear mounted just beyond. The large gear shaft, connected by a square sleeve to the top roller shaft, turned the top roller. The small top roller gear turned the small gear on each of the bottom rollers. A small water pump located on the far side of the frame just beyond the cylinder operated off the driving rod and slide and pumped water from the wells into the boiler. Removing the juice from the cane. The steam-powered machinery which removed the juice from the cane was located here. The fresh-cut cane was massed between the large rotating iron cylinders, and the juice was collected in vats. The crushed cane, called bagasse, was piled and used along with wood as fuel to fire the furnaces. The juice was piped from here to the cooking kettles. And I'm guessing that might have been the well. And here's the man himself, David Levy Yulee, 1810 to 1886, who built Florida's first cross-state railroad, was the state's first U.S. senator. He came to Florida as an immigrant and rose to become an outstanding businessman and statesman. He served in Florida's Territorial Council as territorial delegate to Congress and helped write the state's first constitution. His sugar mill began operations in 1849 during the Civil War. He supplied the Confederates with sugar, syrup, and molasses. Federal raiders burned the Yulee home May 29, 1864, but the mill and plantation escaped destruction. So there you have it. The Yulee sugar mill ruins. And all that's left is the ruins of the mill here. The road is, however, named after him, so we'll continue down Yulee Road to the end and go into the Florida Cracker Resort, where we're going to have a look at Monkey Island. Old Homosassa. And what we're here for is to go right on up that road and around the corner and down to the Monkey Island. Now, the backstory on Monkey Island is kind of funny. There was a guy named G.A. Ferguson. They called him Mr. Homosassa because of all of his contributions to the old Homosassa area. In addition, he was employed by the Norris Cattle Company until he retired in 1983. Now, at one point he took a trip to Rapid City and met a Dr. John Hamlet. And he convinced Dr. Hamlet to come to Florida, where he was hired as a naturalist. And he was also hired by Mr. Ferguson for the Norris Cattle Company, I guess. They have cattle, so they needed a doctor of animals of some sort. Anyway, Mr. Ferguson directed a dragline operator to repair a pile of rocks in the middle of Homosassa River, which would rip the bottom right out of boats at high tide. So while he was away, the dragline operator went to work and dragged a bunch of dirt and a bunch of rocks and everything right into a huge pile in the middle of the river, creating an eyesore. So Mr. Ferguson thought, what can I do with this? So he put a little lighthouse on it. And also around that time, the monkeys that had came with Dr. Hamlet, apparently he had brought spider monkeys and squirrel monkeys into this country, and used them to perfect the polio vaccine. And he still had monkeys. I forget how many, 5 I believe. 3 spider monkeys and 2 squirrel monkeys. So they put them on the island. Well, they only lasted about 12 years due to poor diet and whatnot, and they wouldn't swim the river. It was like a barrier to them. They just stayed on the island. Apparently they had put palm trees of some sort on there, and the monkeys ate the palm hearts. The palms died. I don't know. They ended up putting cedars on there, and now, to this day, they feed the monkeys a very balanced and good diet for them. The monkeys now are not the original monkeys. There are 5 monkeys on there, but no squirrel monkeys. They died and were not replaced. There are 5 spider monkeys. There's Ralph, the alpha male, Sassy, his mate, and Ebony, their child. And there are 2 new additions, Eve and Emily, both spider monkeys. So let's go have a look. And there it is, the monkey island. I guess renovations are still ongoing. I don't see any monkeys. Okay, these monkeys are proving very elusive. As you can see, they are not on the island. There's a non-profit that has spent about $200,000 rebuilding that treehouse that they live in. And meanwhile, the monkeys are staying in Brooksville, Florida, 30 or so miles down Highway 1998, and at a place called Boyette's. It's south of 98 on Spring Lake Highway. So I'm going to jump in the runabout and trot down there and attempt to get some footage of them monkeys for you. And here is where the monkeys are being kept. Boyette's Citrus Attraction. They're right inside there. They don't allow any filming in there, so that's about as close as we can get. Okay, well, we didn't get any footage of the monkeys, and it's getting cool and a little overcast. I think we're done for the day on that, but I'm gonna stay on top of this story. When the monkeys are returned to the island, I'm gonna get you footage of them. And until then, if you like this video, please hit like. If you subscribe, you'll know when I put new videos on. And thank you for watching.